if it's a price determinative quote, then we would award that to the low bidder. And that process is usually fairly quick. Once the bid is closed and we open the bids and tabulate the cost, then we can award it fairly quickly. Because we're the city, we do require a 10-day protest period. So once we pre-award the contract, there's a 10-day protest period to allow any companies, if they felt that they weren't treated fair or that the buyer didn't follow the process, we have that 10-day waiting period to make sure there's no protest. If it's a more complicated requirement, like a request for proposal, and it's not price determinative, which means that we have to evaluate it, we have to assemble an evaluation team and evaluate the proposal, and that may take longer. So, to answer your question, it depends on the requirement. If it's fairly straightforward, price determinative, it could take 2 to 3 weeks from the time that it's posted to the time that it's closed and awarded. But on the more complicated types of contracts, it takes longer if they need to be evaluated. Okay?
Did you have a question? Actually, I did have a question, and I wanted to repeat it or say it so it could get captured on camera. Now, sometimes, because I use this is really great for me, and sometimes there is a little, what do I want to say, like a thunderbolt that I'll see there, and I don't see any. Well, here, I see a thunderbolt there, and what does that thunderbolt mean?
Oh, okay. Okay, good eye. I missed that one. The thunderbolt means that it's a quick quote. So we basically want to turn that around very quickly. The minimum is usually 7 days. So that would be the fastest turnaround. We just want a really quick one and award it right away. Okay.
Okay, and then another question. A lot of us that have small businesses, I'm getting a proposal together. I mean, that takes it's daunting. We were actually very blessed in actually getting a contract with the city, but it took us a long time, and I had dynamic staff to help me. I wouldn't do it again, but I know that there's some other opportunities if we partner with a larger company. Could you explain how a small company could partner or find a large company going after a contract?
Okay. Certainly, there's contracts for large contracts that typically are awarded to the larger companies. They have the option of subcontracting, but it's up to them. We don't really get involved in the subcontracting, but if there's a small company that wants to partner with a large company, then we have received proposals of joint ventures. So for example, you can have a joint venture with a large company and submit a proposal as a joint venture. That would be the only way that I see a small business partnering with a large company. We don't, like I said, we don't get involved with that. It's between either the subcontractor to partner up with the prime that we award the contract, and that happens a lot on construction contracts. The purchasing department is not involved in construction contracts. We only are responsible for supplies, equipment, and services. Construction contracts are awarded by Public Works, which is a separate department. Those are the big, construction contracts that are working at the airport on all that construction. They post the interested parties, the big company, construction companies, and then the subcontractors can then partner with those companies. We don't see a lot of that in purchasing, but it is possible to come together with a larger company as a joint venture and submit the proposal as a joint venture.
Not quite. We're going to investigate some opportunities. We want to make money here, right? Okay, what about, okay, we've got a preference of having being a business that's local. So we've got that sometimes, okay? Just what are all of the preferences? I know you said two, but are there any others? Just go over what are the preferences for small businesses.
The local and small are basically the only preferences as far as assigning points for award. There's other preferences like environmentally friendly purchasing. So if you offer products or services that are environmentally friendly, we do have a preference for that. But I can't think of any other preference. I think that's about it. I can't speak for Public Works, like I said, because that's a totally different department. And those are the only preferences that I can think of.
So nothing for disabled or women or minority-owned businesses, that's out. No preferences for those.
That's correct. But only local and small.
And no vets get, so that's it. Okay.
Well, I have to qualify that. If the city is using federal grants for some of these contracts, then the federal grants do stipulate disadvantaged, minority, female type of preference. I have seen that in some of the contracts, but again, it's only if there's a federal grant to be used for that contract.
Is there any place that we could go, a small business, to get an idea of maybe putting together a proposal, putting something together that's really viable, and instead of just kind of looking at it going, no, I can't do that. Is there any place that possibly City of San Jose offers assistance to kind of get us into knowing this?
That's a good question. I'm not really aware of a resource like that. Des Woodworth in the Economic Development Department, I think he was scheduled to be here and asked if I could attend on his behalf. And he might be aware of a resource like that. I could check and maybe get back to you with that information.